Hi, and welcome to Miss Mary's Social Studies class. Today we are going to be discussing the origins of Hinduism. But before we move on, let's just do a quick review of what we learned in the last section, section 1. So we learned that ancient India was very prosperous and that because of this, India grew and flourished. We discussed how trade helped them build a complex civilization. We learned about the Harpan culture and how it prospered for thousands of years, but unfortunately it fell after several natural disasters forced the Harpan people to leave the area. All right, so we're going to discuss the origins of Hinduism. But first, as always, we're going to review our essential question, which are, who were the Aryans? And we're going to begin answering this question by first discussing the Indo-European migration. So most Indo-Europeans were nomads that lived in family groups called clans. They were herders and herded cattle, sheep, and goat. And they were also warriors who rode horse-driven chariots, and they fought with long bows and arrows. Around 2000 BC, an unknown cause drove the Indo-Europeans from their homeland. Historians' best guess is that either a drought, plague, or invasion of another group forced them to leave. At this point, different groups went into different places. The Hittites went to the Southwest Asia. However, many settled in various parts of Europe. So Aryans are a group of people that moved into India about 1500 BC. The Aryans belonged to a large Indo-European group that gradually entered India. They practiced a mysterious religion that appealed to many people living in that area, known as the Dravidians. As a result, the Aryan religion and language began to spread really quickly. In return for the Aryans teaching the Dravidians, they taught the Aryans about city life. These interactions led to India developing a complex and blended culture. In about 1500 BC, the Aryans traveled east to India. These Aryans were herders and lived a really simple life. They lived in simple houses and spoke an Indo language called Sanskrit. So this brings us to our next question. So how was the Aryan society organized? The best answer to this question is that the Aryan society was organized into classes: warriors, priests, and commoners. And as the Indian society grew more complex, they developed into a system called the caste system. And caste is a social class whose members are identified by their jobs. So there are thousands of different jobs. So theoretically, thousands of groups would exist. So this is why they organized various jobs into 4 main categories. And after many centuries, another group did come into being, and these were known as the untouchables, and they did the jobs that nobody else wanted to. So here we see a diagram of the caste system and how it was organized. At the bottom were the Sudra, and this group was made up of the artisans and laborers. The Visa were the next of this group, and they were made up of bankers, merchants, and farmers. Higher up on the system was the Kshatriya, or rulers and warriors and nobles. And the Brahmin were at the top of this pyramid, and those were priests, scholars, and teachers. Aryans believed in something called Brahmanism. Okay, so Aryan belief and Brahmanism. The main thing was that the early religion of the Aryans is now called Brahmanism, and the name of the Aryan priests were called Brahmins, hence the name Brahmanism. Aryans worshiped many natural deities, and the Brahmins made sacrifices to those deities by offering animals to a sacred fire. At the time when these ceremonies became more and more complex, and some ceremonies could even last for days, weeks, or months. Many of the Aryan religion hymns um, were dedicated to their deities, and a hymn is a religious song or poem. As time passed, Indians began to question how the world came to be. So, this led to changes in contemporary religious ideas. One major belief was that one spirit governed the entire universe. So, our next essential question is, how did the religion of Hinduism develop? And it was at this point Hinduism started to become the main religion of India. Hinduism is a modern name for the major religion of India, which grew out of the early Brahmanism. Hindus worship many deities, however, they also recognize one supreme god or life force. They consider the other deities to be part of the one universal God. The three most important deities are Brahma, and he is the creator, Vishnu, the protector, and Shiva, the destroyer. And Shiva's wife also has many worshippers as well. Now, Hindus believe in something called reincarnation, and reincarnation means that a person has many lives. And that person will continue to die, live, die, live, die, live. And it only ends when a person achieves a mystical union with the God. And the final thing is karma. And karma are good or evil deeds that cause a person to be reborn in a higher or lower life form. So if you do something good, you're going to go up. If you do something bad, you'll go down. Now, Hindus believe that they connect with God by following their own individual path, and part of this path concerns one job. Devout Hindus must carry out their assigned duties in life, and part of that path is closely linked to the caste system. So, if someone is born a laborer, that person needs to do their job to the best of their abilities, and only then would they be allowed to move up. Hindus believe that animals, like humans, have supreme life force them as well. And it is for this reason many Hindus are also vegetarian, meaning they don't eat meat. Now, this is the end of section 2. It was pretty quick, but let's do a quick review. We discussed how the Aryan migration led to India developing into a complex and blended culture. We discussed the caste system and how a person's job defines where a person is on the caste system. We discussed the beginning of Hinduism, what reincarnation was, and karma. So go ahead and click on the next video, and we're going to discuss in section 3 the rise of Buddhism and India's golden age. Talk to you soon.